On the day the college entrance exam results were released, the class beauty, with red-rimmed eyes, begged the whole class to retake the year with her. My childhood friend took the lead in responding, and the others all followed suit. I tried desperately to stop them, but was subjected to online abuse so severe that I withdrew my application and killed myself. After being reborn, I coldly watched this farce unfold, quietly blocked everyone, and filled out my college applications alone, choosing a university thousands of miles away. Later, they discovered that the class beauty had already been accepted by a prestigious foreign university and even mocked the entire class as simping dogs. On Instagram, the air conditioning in the milk tea shop was turned up high, yet I broke out in a cold sweat. Everyone, could you please not submit your college applications and repeat the year with me? Xian's voice trembled with tears, her watery eyes sweeping over everyone present before finally settling on Chin Mubai. I gripped my thigh tightly, the pain telling me this wasn't a dream. 20 minutes ago, I had clearly jumped from the top floor of the teaching building, and now I was back at this moment that changed my life forever. Yeah, what's wrong? You look so pale. Lin Shiyu, sitting beside me, nudged my arm. I sprang to my feet abruptly, and the chair scraped across the floor with a harsh, grating sound. Everyone's eyes turned to me, including Xian's dissatisfied gaze and Chin Mubai's puzzled expression. Sorry, I just suddenly remembered something came up at home. I need to go first. I grabbed my bag, my voice calmer than I expected. Yu, Chin Mubai called after me. Xian is talking about something serious, and you're just leaving like that. I looked back at him. That face, which had once made my heart race, now only filled me with disgust. In my past life, it was this person who led the online mob against me and personally drove me to my death. Her affairs have nothing to do with me. I threw out those words and walked out of the milk tea shop without looking back. The summer heat hit me in the face, yet I felt clearer than ever before. I had been reborn, returned to that afternoon right after the college entrance exam results had come out. Before I submitted my college applications, my phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a message from Chin Mubai. Yeah, what's wrong with you? Shin is so upset. Can't you be a little more understanding? I let out a cold laugh and blocked his number directly. In my past life, I was too understanding of others, which was why I ended up in such a miserable state. Just as I reached the bus stop, my phone rang again. This time it was a message from the class group chat. Xian sent a voice message, her voice choking with tears. I know my grades are bad, and I only scored 400 points. But I never expected Yu to look down on me like this. Then came Chin Mubai's message. Yu, you've really disappointed me. Xian just wanted everyone to stay with her and repeat the year together. If you don't want to join, fine. Why say something so hurtful? I took a deep breath, opened the group members list, and decisively tapped leave group chat. The bus slowly pulled up, and I found a seat by the window, looking out at the familiar street scenery. In my previous life, I had tried to stop their crazy behavior, and in the end, I became the target of everyone's criticism. This time, I would never repeat the same mistakes. My phone rang again. It was an unfamiliar number. Yu, I'm the class monitor Lu Wei. Everyone's talking about you in the group. It's not really appropriate for you to leave the group like that, is it? I replied. Class monitor, please tell them for me that I wish Xian success in her repeated year. As for how I fill out my own college application preferences, there's no need for everyone to worry about it. After sending that message, I blocked the class monitor too. The bus reached the stop, and I got off and walked in the direction of home. When I passed by the community notice board, there was a congratulatory notice posted on it that read, "Congratulations to our community resident Yu, who achieved an excellent score of 645 on the college entrance exam." I gave a scoff, tore down the notice, crumpled it into a ball, and tossed it into the trash can. Yu, I heard you scored 645, that's amazing. Aunt Zhang, a familiar neighbor in the community, walked toward me and greeted me with a smile. Hello, Aunt Zhang. I nodded politely and returned the greeting. Back home, Mom was cooking in the kitchen. Yeah, you're back. The party ended so early. Yeah, I was a little tired, so I came back first. I put down my backpack, walked into my room, and locked the door. I turned on the computer and logged into the college entrance exam application system. In my previous life, I had applied to Shanghai Jiaotong University, and they ended up ruining me. This time, I chose Sun Yat-sen University School of Medicine in Guangzhou without hesitation. After filling out my preferences, I clicked submit and then cleared my browsing history. I wasn't even planning to tell my parents, at least not before I was admitted. My phone vibrated again. It was a message from another classmate. Yenyu, you've really gone too far. Mo said you blocked his number. Xin cried so hard, and everyone is discussing how to help her. I deleted the message before finishing reading it and added this number to the blacklist. As night fell, I stood by the window, looking at the lights in Chin Mabe's house across the way. At this time in my previous life, he should have been calling door to door, persuading classmates to hand over their college application passwords to Xin 4, Unified Management. Sure enough, before long, the doorbell rang at my house. Yeah, Mabe is here to see you. Mom shouted from downstairs. I gave a cold laugh and turned off the room light, pretending I was already asleep. Let this bunch of idiots fend for themselves too. Yeah, open the door. Chin Mabe's voice came from downstairs, accompanied by rapid knocking. I lay on the bed, covering my ears with a pillow. This child, how can she sleep so soundly? Mom muttered, her footsteps gradually fading away. I pulled out my phone and saw that there were now a dozen or so more unread text messages on the screen. They were all from different classmates, and the content was roughly the same, all accusing me of being cold-blooded and ignoring our classmate bond. Most ridiculous of all was a message from Lin Shiyu. Yeah, I know you and Mabai are close, but he really needs your support right now. Shin said if we don't unite and stay with her while she repeats the year, she might do something drastic. I let out a cold laugh and replied, then did you give her the application password? As soon as I sent the message, Lin Shiyu replied instantly. Not yet, but Mo said it's for everyone's own good. He said Shin knows someone at the Education Bureau and can help us get the information-based exam questions, so we can do better on next year's test. Shiyu, what score did you get? I asked. 619, more than 30 points higher than on the mock exam, she replied quickly, adding a happy emoji. So why did you give up this year's admission offer? You could have gone to a decent 211, the chat box showed. The other person is typing, but it took a long time before Lin Shiyu finally sent, but Shin said true friendship has to stand the test. I didn't reply anymore and directly blocked this deskmate, who had been with me for 3 years. Some people are destined to run into a wall before they realize it hurts. The phone suddenly vibrated, and an unknown number called. I hesitated for a moment, then still answered it. Yenue, this is your homeroom teacher, Teacher Lee, came the familiar voice from the other end of the line. I heard you left the class reunion early today and even left the class group chat. I tightened my grip on the phone, my heartbeat quickening. In my previous life, Teacher Lee had also called at this very time to mediate, but instead he ended up becoming an accomplice to Chin Mabai and the others. Teacher Lee, I just feel that I'm not like them. I tried to keep my voice calm. Oh, what conflict can't be resolved between classmates? Teacher Lee said earnestly. Xin didn't do well on this exam, so everyone should care about her more. Chin Mabai said you want to apply to Shanghai Jiaotong University. That's a very good school, but you also need to pay attention to moral character and self-cultivation. I abruptly hung up the phone, trembling with anger. Again, this was happening again. It had been the same in my past life. They always had morality and friendship on their lips, yet did the most despicable things. In my past life, I cared too much about what others thought, which is why they drove me to a dead end. Early the next morning, the doorbell rang again. Through the peephole, I saw Chin Mabai. Dark circles ringed his eyes, and he looked like he hadn't slept all night. Yeah, I know you're home, he said, pounding on the door. Shin said that as long as we stay united, we'll all be able to get into better schools next year. Chin Mabai, you scored 615 points, I said word by word. This score is enough for you to get into a 211 university. Are you sure you want to give it up for Xin? His eyes flickered, but quickly became resolute again. Xin is more important than anyone else. She said that if we accompany her to repeat a year, she'll agree to be with me, so that's how it is. I almost burst out laughing. In my previous life, I never knew until I died that Chin Mabai obeyed Xin without question because of this ridiculous promise. Then I wish you happiness. Just as I was about to close the door, Chin Mabai suddenly braced his hand against the doorframe. Yenyu, you're not allowed to submit your college application choices. He glared at me viciously. Xin said that if anyone is found filling them out in secret, they'll be making enemies of the whole class. I slammed the door shut and locked it from the inside. My heart pounded wildly in my chest, not out of fear, but anger. What gave them the right? What gave them the right to decide my life? Ding dong, my phone popped up a notification from the class group chat. Although I'd already left the group, Lin Shiyu added me to a new one, which had only 5 people in it. Yenyu, the 4 of us have thought it over and decided to apply normally after all. Lin Shiyu messaged me privately, but could you not tell Ian Xin and Chin Mabai? We're afraid they'll. Looking at that message, I suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of irony. In my previous life, these people had been the main force behind the online abuse against me, together with Chin Mabai. You decide for yourselves, I replied. I'm not taking anyone's side. Putting down my phone, I walked to the window and saw Chin Mabai still pacing downstairs. He kept making calls, his expression growing more and more anxious. It seemed his united front had already begun to fall apart. Serves her right. I drew the curtains, turned on the computer, and started searching for information related to Sun Yat-sen University School of Medicine. 3. A week after the volunteer application system closed, I was at home sorting through my high school textbooks one evening when my phone began vibrating frantically. It was more than a dozen messages from Lin Shiyu, each with exclamation marks. Yeah, something huge has happened. Ian Xin has been exposed. She never planned to retake the exam. She already got an offer from the University of Toronto. I raised an eyebrow and replied, what's going on? Lin Shiyu directly sent me a video link. After I clicked it, I saw Ian Xin in a lavishly decorated room, smiling into the camera and laughing uncontrollably. Family, who gets this? Ian Xin in the video said in an exaggerated tone. Those dumb classmates of mine from high school cracked me up. They didn't even know that I had already gotten an offer from the University of Toronto before the college entrance exam. My fingers froze on the screen. I deliberately scored 400 points just to see how many people would give up submitting their applications for me. Ian Xin proudly waved the admission letter in her hand. Guess what? Almost the entire class fell for it. Especially Chin Mabai. He believed everything I said and was as obedient as a dog. At the end of the video, she even made a face. I hope the classmates who repeated a year for me can do well next year, but even if they do, it still won't compare to me going abroad to polish up my resume. When the video ended, I was left unable to recover for a long time, although I had long known Ian Xin's true colors. Seeing her trample on her classmates' sincerity with my own eyes still made me feel nauseated. Lin Shiyu sent another message. Yeah, the whole class has blown up now. Chin Mabai is searching everywhere for Ian Xin like a madman, but her whole family has already moved away. I replied calmly. So, have you all submitted your college applications now? I did, but some people already missed the first application period. Lin Shiyu sent a crying face. Chin Mabai has it the worst. For Ian Xin's sake, he really didn't fill out any applications at all. I closed the chat window and didn't reply. This was karma, I suppose. In my past life, he destroyed my dream of going to college. In this life, he ruined his own future with his own hands. The phone rang again. This time it was the class monitor. Lu Wei, Yenyu, did you know about Ian Xin's plan all along? Why didn't you tell us? I let out a cold laugh and typed back. I warned you, but who among you listened? You still couldn't just stand by and watch everyone get fooled. The class monitor sent a voice message, his voice full of anger. Do you know how many people ended up having to repeat the year because they missed the application deadline? I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my computer and saved this conversation, along with the earlier video, into a folder. I had a feeling these people would soon turn their guns on me. Sure enough, early the next morning, the class group chat was already in an uproar. Although I had already left the group, Lin Shiyu kept forwarding me screenshots. It must be that Yen Yu and Ian Xin were in cahoots. One classmate said in the group, she left way too decisively at the time. Exactly. If she really had our best interests at heart, why didn't she keep trying to stop us? Another classmate chimed in. The funniest part was Chin Mabai's message. Yen Yu, I know you're watching, just wait, I'll definitely make you pay. Looking at these messages, I suddenly felt it was absurd beyond belief. In my previous life, I desperately tried to stop them, only to be driven to death by online abuse. In this life, I chose silence. And they still wanted to pin the blame on me. How could people be so shameless? I opened the folder where I had saved the evidence, sent Ian Xin's video to the class monitor, and added a line. The truth is right here, you can see for yourselves. After sending that message, I blocked the class monitor and all the classmates who were still in contact with me. I had already seen enough of this farce. A week later, I was reading at home when Mom suddenly rushed upstairs in a panic. Yeah, There's a boy downstairs saying he's looking for you, and he looks downright menacing. I looked down from the window and saw Chin Mabai standing downstairs, his hair disheveled and his eyes bloodshot, completely lacking the charm of the school heartthrob he once had. Yenyu, come down here. Seeing me, he looked up and shouted hoarsely, you ruined my life, you're going to take responsibility. Calmly, I picked up my phone and dialed 110, hello. Someone is causing trouble downstairs at my house and threatening my personal safety. After hanging up the phone, I stood by the window and coldly watched Chin Mabai. Like a madman, he shouted downstairs, drawing a crowd of neighbors, Yenyu, you clearly knew about Een Xian's plan, so why didn't you tell me? He waved his fists. I gave up my 615 points for her, now I've lost everything. Are you satisfied? I remained silent the whole time. The police arrived soon after and took away the emotionally unstable Chin Mabai. Before leaving, he was still hysterically shouting that he would get revenge on me. That night, I received an admission text message from Sun Yat-sen University. Looking at the words on the screen, congratulations, you have been admitted to the Sun Yat-sen University School of Medicine. I let out a long sigh of relief. At last, my life was about to begin again, for on a morning in mid-August, I stood at the front door with my suitcase, taking one last look around the home I had lived in for 18 years. Are you really sure you don't want us to take you to Guangzhou? My mother's eyes were red as she helped me straighten my collar. No need, I'm already this old, I said, hugging her. Besides, transportation is so convenient now. If I miss you, I can come back anytime. Dad silently handed me an envelope from the side. There's 20,000 yuan in here, keep it for emergencies. The password is your birthday. I took the envelope, my throat tightening slightly. In my past life, when I was being attacked online, my parents had also supported me unconditionally like this. Unfortunately, back then I was too fragile and couldn't make it through. Thanks, Dad. I forced out a smile. Don't worry, I'll take good care of myself. When I walked out of the residential complex, I subconsciously looked toward Chin Mabai's home. Since the day he was taken away by the police, I hadn't seen him again. I heard from the ladies in the complex that he had been detained for a few days for causing trouble, and after he got out, he was completely dispirited, staying locked at home and never going out. Serves him right, I sneered inwardly. Compared with what he had done to me in my past life, this punishment was mild. The taxi slowly headed toward the airport. I opened my phone and saw the last message Lin Shiyu had sent last night. Yeah, Chin Mabai has gone crazy. He contacted every classmate he could reach and said he wanted to jointly report you to Shanghai Jiaotong University, saying that there was something wrong with your morals. I replied, let him report me. It's not like I applied to Shanghai Jiaotong University anyway. After sending that message, I shut my phone off completely, took out the SIM card, and replaced it with my new Guangzhou number. From now on, I had no more ties to that city or those people. As the plane took off, I looked out at the city's shrinking outline and suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of relief. In my past life, I was trapped in that city, driven to a dead end by those so-called friends and classmates, but in this life, I finally soared into a sky of my own. The campus of Sun Yat-sen University was even more beautiful than I had imagined. Lush banyan trees, antique and elegant red buildings, and students bustling back and forth, full of youthful energy. As I walked along the campus paths, I took a deep breath, as if even the air itself were free. The check-in process went smoothly, and I quickly got my dorm key. When I pushed open the dorm room door, there was already a short-haired girl inside, tidying up her bed. Hi. You must be Yenyu, right? She enthusiastically held out her hand to me. My name is Su Wen, from the clinical medicine department. You are too, right? I nodded and shook her hand. Hello, I'm Yenyu. Great. From now on, we're roommates. Su Wen took my luggage for me. Do you know, the four of us in this dorm are all from different provinces. And you are? I'm from H province. I replied with a smile, though I felt a little dazed inside. How long had it been since anyone had chatted with me so innocently like this? In my previous life, from the end of the college entrance exam to the moment before I killed myself, I had lived in criticism and abuse almost every day. H province, then your Gaokao score must be really high. Su Wen blinked. I heard the cutoff scores there are especially high. Not bad, 645 points. I answered casually. Wow, you're a top student, Su Wen exclaimed. I scored almost 30 points lower than you. After settling my luggage, I took a walk around the campus alone. As I passed the bulletin board at the School of Medicine, a poster caught my eye. freshman mental health lecture, how to adapt to college life. I stood in front of the poster, unable to move on for a long time. If my past self had had the chance to attend a lecture like this, maybe I wouldn't have taken the path to ruin, would I? Student, are you interested in this lecture? A gentle female voice came from behind me. I turned around and saw a female teacher wearing glasses smiling at me. I was just looking around. I was a little flustered. I'm a teacher in the psychology department, surnamed Chin. She adjusted her glasses. When freshmen first enter college, many students feel a bit unaccustomed to everything. If you have any troubles, you can come to the counseling center anytime and talk to me. I nodded, and suddenly my nose stung with emotion. So there were still such kind people in this world who cared about strangers. Thank you, Teacher Chen, I said sincerely. I'll remember that. Back at the dorm, I opened the newly bought laptop and logged into my long-unused social media account. As soon as I went online, dozens of message notifications popped up, most of them from high school classmates. I opened the top one. It was from the class monitor, Lu Wei. Yenyu, Qin Mabai really sent a joint letter to Shanghai Jiaotong University saying that there's something wrong with your character. You'd better contact the school right away and explain yourself. I calmly replied, thanks for the heads up, but I didn't apply to Shanghai Jiaotong University. Then came a message from Lin Shiyu, yeah, something huge has happened. After Qin Mabai found out that you never applied to Shanghai Jiaotong University at all, he completely lost it. Now he's telling everyone everywhere that you lied to everyone and that you're in cahoots with Yin Xian. I let out a cold laugh and replied, he can say whatever he wants, anyway. I'm no longer in H province. Finally, I opened the high school class group marked 99+. Although I had already left the group, Lin Shiyu had taken screenshots of all the chat records and sent them to me. The group was already in utter chaos, with everyone accusing each other. It's all Qin Mabai's fault. If he hadn't taken the lead in supporting Yin Xian, how could we have missed the application deadline? Did you not have any brains yourselves? Who was the one happily handing over the password back then? What's the use of saying this now? My parents are about to explode with anger. I got 589 points. Now I can only retake the year, and Qin Mabai's statement was the most ridiculous of all. It's all Yen Yu's fault. She clearly knew the truth but didn't tell us. She's Yin Xian's accomplice. Looking at these messages, I suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of irony. In my previous life, they had done the same thing, dumping all the blame on me. The difference was, this time I was already thousands of miles away, and they could no longer hurt me. I closed the chat window and was about to log off when I suddenly received a message from a stranger. Yenyu, do you think running to Guangzhou means you're safe? I know you're at the Zhongshan University School of Medicine. My blood froze instantly. Who was this? How did they know where I had gone? Then another message came in. You ruined the future of the entire class. We'll settle this account slowly. I took a deep breath and replied calmly. Who are you? If you've got the guts, come out and say it under your real name. The other side didn't reply again, but I already felt a chill run down my spine. It seemed I had still underestimated how crazy those people were. Just as I was thinking about what to do, Su Wen pushed the door open and walked in. Yenyu, the counselor said there'll be a class meeting tomorrow morning. Don't forget. I forced out a smile. Okay, thanks for the reminder. Lying in an unfamiliar bed at night, I couldn't fall asleep for a long time. I had thought that coming to Guangzhou would let me completely escape the past, but now it seemed I was still too naive. Those high school classmates I had abandoned clearly had no intention of letting me off easily, especially Qin Mabai. He has nothing now, and he's bound to latch onto me like a mad dog and refuse to let go. I got out of bed, turned on the computer, and began organizing all the evidence. Yin Xian's video, the classmates' chat records, Qin Mabai's threatening messages. If those people really refuse to let it go, I don't mind using legal means to protect myself. Outside the window, the banyan trees of Sun Yat-sen University swayed gently in the night breeze. 5. After the class meeting ended, I walked alone toward the library. Guangzhou in September was still sweltering, and sunlight filtered through the gaps in the banyan leaves, casting dappled patterns on the ground. Yenyu, a familiar voice came from behind me, and I froze all over. Turning around, I saw Su Wen chasing after me. Out of breath, why are you walking so fast? Didn't we agree to go to the cafeteria for lunch together? I let out a breath of relief and forced a smile. Sorry, I forgot, you've been distracted a lot lately. Su Wen hooked her arm through mine. Are you homesick? I shook my head and gave no explanation. I hadn't told anyone about that anonymous threatening letter. Every day as I walked across campus, I would subconsciously scan my surroundings, afraid of seeing a familiar face. The cafeteria was noisy, and Sue and I found a corner seat to sit down. After eating just a few bites, my phone suddenly vibrated. It was a multimedia message sent from an unfamiliar number. I opened it, and my hand shook so badly that my chopsticks fell to the floor. The photo showed me walking out of the teaching building yesterday. It was clearly taken secretly. What's wrong? Sue looked at me in confusion. It's nothing. I quickly locked the screen. Just saw a cockroach. Sue took it at face value and started complaining about how huge Guangzhou cockroaches are. I nodded mechanically in agreement, but my mind was in complete chaos. Had that person really come to Guangzhou, or had they hired someone to follow me? Back at the dorm, I immediately opened my laptop and tried to trace the number. Although I wasn't a computer science major, my previous life's experience with online harassment had led me to learn some basic cybersecurity knowledge. Unfortunately, the other party had clearly used a virtual number, and I couldn't find any useful information. Just as I was about to give up, another message popped up. Meet at the cafe by the school's west gate at 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Don't even think about calling the police, or I'll print your glorious deeds into flyers and scatter them all over Zhongda. I stared at the message, my fingers trembling slightly. What exactly did this person want? Money, revenge, or ding dong, another message. Oh, and remember to bring 50,000 yuan, that's what you owe us. I gave a cold laugh and replied, who are you, Qin Mabai? The other side didn't answer, but my intuition told me it was probably him. In my last life, he ruined my college dream. In this one, since he couldn't get into college himself, did he want to ruin my college life? I shut down the computer and tossed and turned on the bed. Should I go or not? Calling the police might indeed provoke him, but obediently giving him money wasn't the answer either. At 2:50 p.m. the next day, I stood in the shade of the trees across from the Westgate Cafe, watching the people coming and going. I hadn't brought any money, but in my pocket were a voice recorder and pepper spray. At 2:58, a figure wearing a baseball cap and a mask appeared at the entrance of the cafe. Even though he was covered up tightly, I recognized him at a glance from the way he walked. Qin Mabe. I took a deep breath and walked over. I knew you'd come. He pulled down his mask, revealing that haggard face. The campus heartthrob, once so sunny and handsome, now had sunken eye sockets, a scraggly beard, and looked like a vagrant. Qin Mabai, have you lost your mind? I said coldly. Stalking me, blackmailing me, crazy. He suddenly grabbed my wrist. Yenyu, do you know how I've spent this past month? I scored 615 points. Now I can only repeat a year, and my parents, his voice choked up. I shook off his hand. You brought that on yourself. Who told you to believe Ian Xian's nonsense? You clearly knew the truth. His eyes were red. Why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you tell me? I did try to stop you. I lowered my voice. In my previous life, I did everything I could to stop you too. And what happened? You wrote a joint letter to get my application rejected. You bullied me online. You drove me to suicide. Qin Mabai froze. Why you? What are you talking about? I only then realized I'd let something slip, and hurriedly changed the subject. What exactly do you want? Money. He got straight to the point. 50,000, take it as compensation from you to me. I don't have any money. I turned to leave, and I'm warning you, if you keep harassing me, I'll call the police. Call the police. He let out a cold laugh and pulled a stack of papers from his pocket. See this? I've compiled evidence of your collusion with Ian Xian. If I spread this around, you can forget about ever showing your face at Zhongda again. I glanced at it, and it was all fabricated so-called evidence, claiming how I had joined forces with Ian Xian to deceive our classmates. Qin Mabai, I said word by word, go ahead and try. Let's see whether the police arrest you, you extortionist, first, or whether your lousy flyers destroy me first. After saying that, I turned and left. Behind me came Qin Mabai's hysterical shouting, Yenyu, just you wait, I won't let you get away with this. I didn't look back and walked straight to the school security office. In my previous life, I was too weak. In this life, I would take the initiative.